Morning, everybody. Lots and lots of news to get to this morning. Like, really lots of news to get to this morning. Gerald Butts is going to be testifying, I believe, in half an hour, 10 a.m. I think his testimony starts. And Justin Trudeau is still, the memes are endless. And they're funny, right? Hello, is this IKEA? I need a new cabinet. Or is that IKEA? I need a new cabinet. Ha, hilarious. And the socks unraveling. Yeah, yep. Accurate, absolutely. And Google is banning political ads. Google Canada will ban political ads before this year's elections. Can you believe that? I mean, Canada's election rules are so difficult to comply with that Google Canada will just ban it completely. Interesting. I wonder if we're going to see non-political ads, but ads for like pipelines or ads for, shoulder issues. I wonder if we're going to see those banned as well, or if we're going to have a whole bunch of really soft political ads disguised as pipeline ads or environmental ads or whatever. I'm very interested in that. I think that's what we're probably going to see. But the main point of today's video is actually Andrew Scheer. I get a lot of flack for reporting on Andrew Scheer, and the reason I report on Andrew Scheer is because he's an important person in Canadian politics. He's the leader of the opposition. He's what we've got standing against Justin Trudeau. He's the guy whose job it is to hold Justin Trudeau account. So, is he doing a good job or a bad job? And I feel like he's been doing a bad job overall, but he's been upping his game recently. But I don't like him. I don't think he's a good leader. I think he's probably a softer version of the same people and the same policies who are driving Trudeau. And I'm going to show you what I mean about that today. Right now, actually. We've got a 1.5-minute clip where Andrew Scheer talks specifically about deferred prosecution agreements and how they're a tool that was given by the Canadian government to judges, just like, anger management would be given to a judge to use if you go off, if you do something that you regret and you want to fix things. That's what he compares a DPA to, a deferred prosecution agreement to. So that makes me angry. And I think that it's minimizing all of the blatant, or not blatant, all of the sneaky politics that the Liberals did to get this DPA, deferred prosecution agreement, into place for their buddies at SNC Lavalin. So what I think is going to happen is Mr. Scheer is going to say, here's my difference maker, guys. I am not going to let SNC get away with this, but the tool is useful, so we're going to leave the tool in place for other people. And a whole bunch of other countries, like the United States and the United Kingdom, have this DPA, so we need it too. This allows for a two-tier legal system. Let me be very clear. If we allow this DPA, deferred prosecution agreement law, to stand, we are allowing a two-tiered legal system. One set of laws for a company that can afford to break them and has enough jobs, apparently 9,000 Canada-wide is enough jobs to flagrantly break the law. And to have charges laid in 2015, I've said 2014 previously, so I apologize. My correction is now it's actually 2015 that charges were laid. They were under investigation from 2011 to 2015, I suppose. But 2015, charges were laid. They got the law changed in 2018, and then now they're still trying to use this, quote, tool. Right. Can you do that? Can I do that? Can your business do that? No. And so a deferred prosecution agreement, us allowing this to continue, us allowing this law, which they changed in a budget bill, and I'm going to show you that too, to stand, says, yeah, we're okay with this. We're all right. We can have a two-tiered legal system. No problem. That's fine. No, it's okay because, we've got to compete, right, with the United Kingdom and United States. We've got to let big companies get away with breaking the law, and that's the cost of doing business, right? $130 million cost of doing business. No, I don't like it. So Mr. Scheer is going to say, we're not going to let SNC get away with it, but we're going to leave the law in place. Mr. Trudeau is absolutely trying to lay the framework right now to continue to give SNC a slide. If this is up to Trudeau, SNC walks on this. And Mr. Bernier says, no corporate corruption. No crony corruption, period. And so I like Mr. Bernier. That's the short version. I'm biased. Okay? Understand that going in. Welcome to my show. Okay, so here's a timeline of SNC Lavalin. And this is important to understand in the context of what we're going to watch in a few minutes. So here we go. SNC Lavalin, a timeline of events reported by the Globe and Mail with the Quebec engineering giant. Okay, February 2015, the RCMP laid fraud and corruption charges against the engineering company SNC Lavalin and two of its subsidiaries over dealings in Libya. The Mounties allege that between 2001 and 2011, SNC-Lavalin paid almost $47.7 million to public officials in Libya to influence government decisions. They also changed the company, its construction division, they also charged the company, its construction division, and its subsidiary, SNC-Lavalin International, with defrauding various Libyan organizations of about $130 million. Okay, May 8th, 2015, SNC-Lavalin Chief Executive Robert Card says the company would like to arrange a deferred prosecution agreement with Ottawa to avoid lengthy criminal trial. Charged in February. In May, they say, we'd really like to change the laws, please. And we'll show you other letters and stuff in just a minute, too. 2016, 2017, the Federal Lobbyist Registry shows SNC-Lavalin representatives register more than 50 meetings with federal officials and parliamentarians in which the subjects discussed include, quote, justice and law enforcement. Right, justice and law enforcement of big businesses. Back to the article. September 25th, 2017, the federal government launches consultations that last almost 8 weeks to, quote, consider the possibility of introducing a Canadian Deferred Prosecution Agreement, DPA, regime as an additional tool for prosecutors to be used in appropriate circumstances to address corporate crime, such deals suspend criminal prosecutions if the accused agrees to, quote, fulfill certain requirements, including admitting to facts that would support a conviction, paying a significant financial penalty, and cooperating with authorities, on completion of which charges would be withdrawn. February 22nd, 2018, the government publishes the results of the consultation saying, quote, the majority of participants supported having a Canadian Deferred Prosecution Agreement regime, as they were of the view that DPAs could be a useful additional tool for prosecutors to use at their discretion in appropriate circumstances to address corporate criminal wrongdoing. The government also says it remains committed to hearing from interested parties on the subject. February 27, 2018, amendments to the criminal code to permit deferred prosecution agreements, now called remediation agreements, by Ottawa are announced into the budget 2018. They are subsequently inserted into a massive omnibus budget bill, C-74. Okay, we're going to look at Bill C-74. Here is Mr. Morneau, Panama Papers participant Will Ferrell lookalike, and sometimes finance minister Bill Morneau, and his wife is so rich. She owns McCain Foods. She's the heiress to McCain Foods. All of these very rich, very powerful people who have tax havens proven in the Panama Papers get to run our country. Isn't it wonderful? And they get to change the laws for their friends, their big business friends. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So very, very interesting. So here's a letter, and I'm not going to go through the 2017 letter just before we get to Mr. Morneau, but this is a letter. SNC-Lavalin CEO urged Ottawa to change its anti-corruption rules. Okay, so that's 2017. That's 2 years after they were charged, and a full year before the DPAs were inserted into law in the budget bill. And who inserted them into law in the budget bill? Well, that's Bill Morneau, okay? Here it is, and here's federal budget bill quietly proposes tool, not criminal code changes, to ease penalties for corporate crime. Yes, a federal proposal that would allow prosecutors to suspend criminal charges against companies in certain cases of corporate wrongdoing has been quietly included in the Trudeau government's 582-page budget legislation. 582 pages. You have to vote on this. And if you are a Liberal, vote of no is a vote of no confidence. You have to vote yes on this. And the Liberals are a majority. Interesting, right? Okay. In fact, its inclusion was so discreet, even one Liberal MP studying the legislation was caught by surprise. The government intends to move forward with an amendment to the criminal code to create an optional tool for prosecutors that's sometimes referred to as a deferred prosecution agreement. I scroll down. The change, however, has raised concerns among lawmakers, including Liberals, on the House of Commons Finance Committee, which has been analyzing the broader budget bill. A few members of the all-party committee say they were first made aware of the change only after it was brought to their attention during the testimony of a senior Justice Department official late last Tuesday night. The explanation by Anne Shepard, a senior counsel in the criminal law policy section, prompted many questions from members who recommended the provision on the deferred prosecution agreement be removed from the legislation because it was such a significant change they thought it warranted more thorough study. Some also called for the provision to be studied by the House of Commons Justice Committee, which they argued has more expertise when it comes to changes to the criminal code. So Liberals all-party committee were saying, hold on, we shouldn't do this. And I've done videos on this before. Dan Albus is one person who stood up again and again saying, this is improper, we shouldn't be doing this. So good on you, sir. A way to speak truth to power, to quote Jody Wilson-Raybould. And but these guys don't care. They don't care the right way of doing things. They are just trying to shove through their agenda. And what's their agenda? Helping their crony buddies get away with breaking the law years after they were charged. Years. 3 years. It's crazy. Back to the article. Liberal MP Greg Fergus told the committee at last Tuesday's hearings that he was concerned the change appeared to be designed to give those implicated in white-collar crimes a little slap on the wrist. Quote, I do have some serious questions about this, said Fergus, who said that while he had read through the most of the large budgeted bills before the committee hearing, he hadn't seen the deferred prosecution provision. It seems we're letting those with the means have an easier time of it than those who don't have the means. Scroll down. The legislation lists 31 qualifying offenses, including bribery of a foreign public official, municipal corruption, fraud, theft, forgery, and insider trading. The government calls the proposed system the remediation agreement regime. An agreement would still compel a company to cooperate by, among other things, admitting responsibility and paying monetary penalties. However, by avoiding criminal prosecution, the company would still be eligible to compete for sometimes lucrative, sometimes the whole part of your company, right, SNC? Government contracts in Canada and abroad. So, what do you think of DPAs, Mr. Scheer? You've been told, and we've read, Dan Albus says, this is improper. We shouldn't be inserting this law into a budget bill. This is crazy. A whole bunch of people across a multi-party committee said, no, we shouldn't do this. We should remove this from this budget bill. It was inserted in a budget bill by Bill Morneau. What do you think about it?
Deferred prosecution as a tool. Why is this something that needs to be or should be implemented in Canada or used in Canada?
Well, deferred prosecution agreements are a tool that the Parliament last year, the Government of Canada, gave to our justice system. So it's now an option for prosecutors to determine if they're, in any given situation, if it's appropriate. Now, that being said, companies still have to qualify for it. And the way the Liberals wrote the law, the prosecutors have to look at the nature of the offenses. How deep did the corruption go? The kinds of corruption that they were involved in. We now know that some of the money went to Muammar Gaddafi's son buying prostitutes and escorts here in Canada. It talks about whether or not there have been appropriate steps to clean up the company. So based on those qualifications, SNC Lavalin didn't qualify. And what Justin Trudeau would have...
See what he did? So he walked it, and we walked away from what a DPA was, and should it be used in Canada, this two-tiered legal system that's set up, and he said, well, Muammar Gaddafi's sons got prostitutes paid for by the Liberals, and the way the Liberals wrote the law, sir, the way the Liberals wrote and inserted the law should be absolutely scandalous, and you should be screaming it from the rooftops, and you're not, and that's suspicious. Why? Is it going to be SNC funneling money to the CPC instead of the LPC now, because you'll come in and save them somehow? Well, it's not SNC, it's a subsidiary, and it used to be SNC, but, it's a different name, and, well, I guess they can have government contracts because, we have to have Canadian jobs and jobs, right? It's the same speech given by a different puppet, and that's why I don't like Mr. Scheer, right? So, and if you have any question that SNC is, or that they're going to give SNC a deal, or they're going to try, is watch Mr. Lametti try and answer questions about, is it improper for him to change the mind or the decision of the Attorney General when it's very clear that Ms. Wilson-Raybould, when she was Attorney General, had made her mind up. And they are saying very clearly, Steve McKinnon, who is Parliamentary Secretary defending the Prime Minister on PCBC, just said that SNC Lavalin is entitled to a deferred prosecution agreement as takes place in other allies. And by that, I think she means other allied countries. And the exact quote, and thank you, Katie Simpson, for getting the quote for me, is, our belief is that this company, SNC Lavalin, is one that is, like its competitors around the world, entitled to a deferred prosecution agreement, like they would be able to access in the UK, in France, throughout Europe. Steve McKinnon. Okay, and again, the problem with this is those laws are not on the books. They weren't on the books when the laws were broken. They weren't on the books when SNC was charged, and they were snuck onto the books without proper debate in a budget bill in the middle of summer last year. So, Mr. Scheer, swing and a miss, sir. Swing and a miss. And I think that was the third out in this in this inning. Oh, baseball metaphors are awful. I don't even really like baseball. But my point is, dude, really? Come on. Canadians are smarter than you're giving us credit for. And trying to say that the whole scandal here is the pressure? No, that is half the scandal. And yeah, it's the thing that might be illegal, but you not making any bones about how this law, this change to the criminal code was snuck in by the Liberals and allowed, and implying that you think it's probably okay to leave on the books and we'll get people using it. You know, those companies that qualify. Welcome to Canada, Mr. Scheer. You should know better. Thank you for watching, everybody. Check out the peoplespartyofcanada.ca, where Mr. Bernier promises again and again no crony corruption. No deals for big business lawbreakers. peoplespartyofcanada.ca. Thanks for watching, everybody.